Hey guys, TommyBryson here, and I gotta be honest with you guys, okay? I've never had an American Express card, but all throughout my life, the only thing I knew for sure was that the people that did have these cards, they tended to be pretty fancy. And that's because whenever I watched a movie, the rich people always had an Amex card. It was always steel, it was always gray, it looked so cool, and it looked so luxury. It just looks so cool, right? But then I started to realize the more savvy I became with finances, the more money I made, the more I got into investing, that I was actually admiring people with the ability to pay for something on credit and then pay it back that same month. And I didn't really understand at that point why it was so cool. So today that I have a 766 credit score here, guess what? Credit Karma tells me, hey Tommy, you have amazing odds of actually getting yourself one of these fancy credit cards. As you guys can see right here, my odds are amazing. There you go. Outstanding odds, Tommy. If you apply, you're almost guaranteed to actually get it. But whenever I go to the American Express website and I see, for example, to pay $695 to have access to this credit card that allows me to borrow money, pay back that same month, and so on, to me, as the type of person that I am, it makes absolutely no sense. And that's why most of the times I'm just basically paying with cash and so on. Now, one big question I've always had has been this. If these cars are so cool, they have so much benefits, the people that usually have them are kind of luxurious, have higher incomes and so on, then why is it whenever you go to a lot of places, they tell you, hey, we just don't accept Amex. While me with my degular Visa, MasterCard, I can basically get accepted anywhere on this planet. That never quite made sense to me because, for example, if I ran a business, wouldn't I want anyone to come by, rich, poor, and just buy my product because business is business? The answer is, it's not really that simple. And in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly what this means. Why a lot of businesses don't like Amex. Why Amex works the way they work, the change they're making, and if it's actually worth it for you as a customer to even have an Amex card in the first place. Now, by the way, I'm the most boring guy on YouTube. I like to save a lot of money. I might be considered cheap. I live a very good lifestyle that I basically enjoy, and I make a good amount of money too. But my main point is this. I'm not making this video to judge people that use Amex and say, wow, these people are so stupid. No, because depending on your lifestyle, which by the way, is why I love personal finance. It is personal to you. If you want to spend money on something, that's your business, not mine. But overall, my point is, dependent on your lifestyle, it might make sense to have one of these cars because they have so many cool benefits. But if you're a lot more like me in the long-term team, this is just absolutely stupid, okay? Just gonna be honest with you. And although my credit score is 766, I wish it was 769. I'm so immature. But guys, let's get started with this video. Now, the very first thing, guys, is you're probably wondering, Tommy, it's pretty simple. Visa, MasterCard, they're payment processing places, meaning basically they make money from the transactions, okay? And on top of that, Amex is more like a bank, and they don't really get paid interest that much because in reality, people use it a lot of the times as a charge card. But a lot of this is actually changing now. But in reality, the answer is even more simple than this. It's not because Amex is a bank or Visa, MasterCard are basically transaction companies or whatever. No, it's a lot more simple. Businesses want to keep more money in their pockets, and Amex is more expensive than Visa and MasterCard. And the reason is very simple, because there are a lot more Visas and MasterCards out there than there are Amex cards. And in reality, whenever you have so much volume out there of transactions, you can make a lot more money on fewer profit margins, while Amex has to increase their profit margins in order to actually make some money. Now, as a business owner, I have to kind of think for a second, okay? I can either accept everyone or I can accept the people, the majority, make good money. And whenever these people come by with the Amex cards that usually have more money than those people on average, the answer is most likely those people also have another payment option. So I'm not going to lose out. Now you're probably wondering, Tommy, you're making this sound like it's so expensive for these retailers to actually take Amex. The answer is no, it's not really that expensive in reality. It's just capitalism. And if I can save money, I'm going to save money and make more from my pocket. It's just how it works, okay? So overall, MasterCard and Visa cost between 1 1.15% to 2.5%, okay? That's the merchant fee. And obviously, a merchant fee is what the merchant actually pays the transaction companies to be able to accept these payment methods. Because in reality, if people have these cards and they want to pay with them, as a business owner, I want to accept it because I want to sell my products, and that has a fee of 1.15% to 2.5%. However, MasterCard charges around 1.43%, so much higher, to around 3.3%. If you go on the internet, you might find 2.5% to 3.5%, but in reality, I just don't think that's more realistic because it does vary on size, transactions in stores, and a lot of different factors. So it's a lot more different than you actually think it is. But bottom line, it comes down to businesses and retailers. They want to have more money in their pockets. You might think, Tommy, but 1% really? Like, is 1% such a big deal? The answer is yeah. I mean, it kind of is dependent, right? Because if you're JCPenney or Sears back in the heyday and you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars on a daily basis, 1% of that is a good chunk of money, right? So you might want to save that somewhere else. That's the idea. Not just that though, right? But a lot of these companies have transaction contracts where they work with Visas or certain credit cards and so on. And they also want to incentivize their customers to get, for example, their store credit cards. For example, if I go to Costco, whenever I'm trying to pay, they tell me, Tommy, we don't accept MasterCard. And I'm like, it's a debit card. They're like, okay, go ahead. You're good to go. But if it's a MasterCard credit card, they don't accept it. Amex, I don't think they accept it either. They like the Visa and all this other stuff. And in reality, they want to incentivize you to get their store card to spend more money over at Costco. So different retailers have different reasons to why they do this. It's not just, for example, transaction fees. Because in reality, if I can guarantee an extra $100,000 a month in revenue by having Amex customers come in, the answer is I'm probably going to do it because 1% is not really that much of a big deal. And if a business is relying on such a small margin to make the business make sense, most likely at a certain point, something's going to happen to put that business out of business, okay? I'm just being honest. But it comes down to, if you don't have a payment method we accept, but you have an Amex, most likely you have cash or you have another one, okay? So it just makes sense for a business standpoint. To make sure you guys understand this from a logical, numerical part, there are about 121 million Amex cards in circulation right now. And you might say, Tommy, wow, that's so cool, right? It's a lot of cards. The answer is no, it's not really that impressive because Visa has about 1.8 billion cards in circulation, while MasterCard has around 2.89 billion cards. You see what I'm saying here? So it's like, it makes a lot of sense to accept Visa and MasterCard because the majority of people are going to have those. And most likely, the person that has an Amex isn't just loyal to Amex, they probably have another payment method also. That's why it makes so much sense as a customer. Now, overall, guys, I do have to say this, okay? Amex is evolving. And I am noticing that, okay, because Amex used to be big time back in the day, a charge card. So you had, for example, a balance, you pay it off at the end of the month, no interest, nothing crazy happening, just pay it off at the end of the month and you're basically done. And they made most of the money from the annual fee. But today, Amex is including, for example, features like, hey, if you want to carry a balance, you want to split it up into different payments, you can do that for a fee. We'll charge you some interest here and there. They are evolving. On top of that, this is why I say it might make sense for some people out there to actually get an Amex card. And here's why. Because in reality, I want to show you guys this, okay? So let me just go here and refresh this. So if you guys notice right here, this is actually the Amex card, okay? The Platinum card. And right here, like if you sign up, they give you literally like 100,000 points, you spend some money or whatever. But that's not even the cool thing. And by the way, here's what I was saying now. Now they're basically having interest rates. You can break down payments and so on. It used to be charge cards were the primary way, but that's changing with the marketplace. But you pay, for example, $6.95, which is a lot of money. But overall, when you go down here, you can see, hey, you get $200 in hotel credits. For me, I don't do hotels. Don't make no sense. Entertainment, $240. Walmart Plus, $155. Global lounges, $200 Uber Eats, $300 on Equinox, $100 here, $189 here. Like, there's a lot of reasons to actually do this. You get 5 points on flights, 5 points on hotels. My point is, right, if you're spending a lot of money, this might make sense. But if you're like me, all I see with this is basically to get some money back, I'm going to have to spend money. And to me, it makes absolutely no sense because I'm not that type of person at all. I'm not spending that much money in the credit card whatsoever. So this doesn't make any sense to me to actually have one of these cards. But if you find yourself being the type of person that spends so much money and you're one of those glittering rich people, then it might make sense, because if you're spending so much money, to get back 5 points on it, not that bad. 5 points, well, 5 pennies for every dollar you spend might not be that bad. It might make a difference in the end, okay? But overall, for me, it makes no sense. I'm not doing lounges. I'm not doing Uber. I drive my Toyota around. It just makes no sense. Now, my advice is very simple, guys, okay? As far as should you get an Amex card or should you not, that's obviously a personal choice based on your financial state. Now, if you're broke... Personal finance is not personal for you because you're broke, you should fix it. But if you're wealthy or whatever and you have enough money to actually sustain yourself financially free, these are questions you should ask yourself depending on your spending habits. Now, overall, my idea is, for me, I like to keep things simple. I use cash, I use debit, I don't use credit. The only time I find myself using a credit card is whenever, for example, I find myself needing to spend a lot of money I don't have on my debit card at the moment, and I can't transfer it over instantly, so I just use it, pay it off right then, boom, I'm done. And I should tell you something, guys, okay? Because one of the people that owns Amex is Warren Buffett. I think he owns around a 17% interest in the company, and he says all the time, I use cash 99% of the time, and I might use my Amex like 1% of the time. I think he says that because he owns some companies or whatever, but he says one of the worst ways to kind of try to build wealth is paying somebody 18% on a credit card. It makes absolutely no sense. So to answer the question overall, customers, businesses, they want to have more money in their pocket. Amex is not that much of a big figure to make them kind of shift that mindset. But there are changing things. So in the future, they're also going to consider, by the way, lowering the fees. So in the future, you're probably going to see a lot more places accepting Amex. And by the way, the concept sounds like, oh my gosh, no one accepts them. In reality, no, that's not true. They have around 10.9 million retailers and people out there that accept Amex. It's still widely accepted, but your average deli, a little store, a little mom and pop shop might not accept them, but the average store does. Because these people, by the way, although you only have 121 million cards in circulation, the average card member spends around $20,000 on those cards. So it does make sense for them to accept it, if you see what I'm saying, okay, guys? But overall, that is it for this video. Thanks for watching. Comment down below, let me know what you thought about this video. On top of that, comment down below credit if you made it all the way to the end of the video. And by the way, let me know in the comments down below, do you have an Amex card? And if the answer is yes, tell me, is it worth it or is it not worth it, okay? As always, guys, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified, comment down below any questions. Up here is another video. Over here's my face. And top about, follow me on Instagram at TommyBryson. And as always, long-term team officially out. These outros need to be shorter.